They say how this nigga come from dirt to bad hoes and bank rolls. Over 100 shots on the E-way, I gotta make it home. I learned from my struggle, stack that dough, forget your hustle on. Go ride for your brother when he call you.
Welcome, everybody, to Chopping It Up with Dizz and Los, brought to you by Zapata Systems. I'm Dizz, no Los, unfortunately. He had to stay late at work. But we're going to have a surprise show maybe on dropping Saturday morning. Los wants to talk about a couple of topics that we planned on doing. But he wanted to come in on it. So Friday, we're going to record something Friday night, very short. You know, this one's probably going to be a 15-minute show. That one's probably going to be a 15-minute show, just to get his side and what his ideas of the Parsons trade demand and the Scary Terry trade demand. But let's get right to it. Parsons demands a trade from Dallas Cowboys. You know, he said that there was some not negotiating, but him and Jimmy Johnson had a conversation. Yes, they were talking about contract negotiation. He was going back and forth with them, but his agent wasn't there. And apparently, word got out that Parsons might sign a deal, or he was asking for this. Listen, I just think this is Dallas just playing the cards right. It's negotiating between two teams. It's a player and a team. A lot of money is at stake here. What I'm hearing is $200 million around there, and close to like $100 and something million guaranteed. Do I think he's going to leave Dallas? No, I don't. I think Dallas is smart enough to sign him, especially with CeeDee Lamb starting to already chirp a little bit. You know, just he went on Twitter and said, just pay the man. And that's right. He should get what he deserves. He is a monster of a defensive player. And I think the Giants haven't won too, but that's for another day. But I think he's a monster player. Is he worth 200? To be honest with you, I don't think no one's worth $200 million. $200 million. I mean, hey, get it. That's all you. Go get it. But again, it's a business, and the team has to try to save money somehow. Now, let's just say they do grant him that trade, and they trade him somewhere. I've got three teams out. I've got about four teams out there that I think he'll go or stay, and I will give you percentage-wise of what that is. So I will go first. The two teams in the NFC East that I think he would want to go to, and there's already been grumblings and talks that he wants to go there, or he would like to play there, and that's the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. I do think Kevin Durant was mentioning in a podcast that, you know, he told Parsons to go to the Commanders and stuff like that, but honestly, I don't think he would go to some place like that. I think if anything, he would go to Philly. I think Philly's the better team, the better, organization, and that's what he would want to go to. And we know the Eagles; they will do whatever it takes to just stick it to an NFC East team, like they did to my Giants. But if he would go somewhere, I think the number one team out there is the Pittsburgh Steelers. He has mentioned it already on podcasts. He has said he would like to go if he was going to switch a team, he would go to Pitt Steelers. He's a big fan of Mike Tomlin. He's a big fan of the whole organization. And it's out there already that he would like to go there. So if they can work that would be something. But I do think that it's about a 70% chance that he will stay in Dallas. Now, going to Terry McLaurin, he's not he's not like a class 1 receiver. I think he's like 1B, but for the organization of the Commanders, you got to pay him the money. He has been with that team through thick and thin when the team was bad, he has just been an organizational person. And that's what you got to pay him. You got to pay him. You just traded in for Debo, who, to be honest with you, he didn't have a good year last year. He looked out of shape. He looks like he's in better shape now. But Terry McLaurin just puts his head down, does what he has to do. You never hear anything bad about him in the locker room. And that's the stuff that made that team so good last year. And I think Terry McLaurin is huge for Jalen Daniels, to take it to the next step, even though they got Debo. I just think Terry McLaurin is a person you want in your quarterback's ear all the time. He's never disrespectful. He does what he has to do, and that's a leader that any team would like to have. And that's why I think just pay the man. Just give him what he's worth. Give him what, even give him a little more, because he's stuck with you for the beginning and when everything was bad. And you got to give it back to him. Now, we can go into this one. It's been going around. Everybody's been seeing a lot of posts about it and stuff like that. I had a conversation with someone. We were going at it a little bit at the barbershop when I was getting my beard done. Jalen Hurts versus Cam Newton. Which one's better? Which one would you rather have on your team? Which one would you draft? So I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to run the numbers off for the first 4 years of both of them. Right? Can't put in the championship year, the Super Bowl championship, because then you'll know who it is. But so let's go with the first one. In the first 4 years, this person threw for 11,764 yards. He had 67 touchdowns, 34 interceptions. Now, he had 32 touchdown rushing, and he ran for 3,133 yards in his first 4 years. Okay? That's pretty good. That's pretty good for a quarterback. And his quarterback rating was 91%. Now, the other person, first 4 years, passing yards, he threw over 14,426 yards. He had 82 passing touchdowns, 54 interceptions, passer rating of 85.4. Now, with rushing, he had 2,873 yards and 28 rushing touchdowns. So, if I was looking at that, I would say the first person didn't throw a lot. He only had 11,000 yards in his first 4 years. The second player threw a lot, 14,000. The rushing yards, it only a couple hundred, maybe 500 yards off. The first guy had 3,133. The other guy had 2,873. The touchdowns, he had 32 rushing on the top guy. The bottom guy had 28. It is there. It is like even. It's very even. The passing yards is the big difference. And the passing rating, about 5 points for the passing rating, 6 points about the passing rating. So, if you look at them two just like that, you would say it's even. So then you got to throw in the championships. And you got to throw in the Super Bowls. We all know Cam didn't jump on the ball to, get the fumble. And we all know that Jalen Hurts went 2 times to the Super Bowl, lost once, and, won one. So I will tell you the people who it is. The first person that I gave you, the one that threw for 11,764 yards, Jalen Hurts. Now you can take a look at that. Okay, it was the first year. Did they have AJ Brown? Did they have, So you gotta look at that. And also too, he ran for 3,000 yards in his first 4 years. So then they didn't have Barkley, but it's a funny thing that I said that because last year he had more yards than he had the previous year of rushing. So the bottom one was Cam Newton, passing yards 14,000. Now I think a lot of that had to do maybe because of Christian McCaffrey. I don't know. And he did have Kyle Benjamin as there. So he did have good receiver, Steve Smith. So he was passing a lot. And when you have Steve Smith, someone that demands the ball, you're going to have to throw it a little more. So you got to put the championship in there because I think it's even. And if you put the championship in there, Jalen Hurts is the one you pick. I hate to say that, but Jalen Hurts is the one to pick. If you were going to pick between two people with those stats right there, they're basically even. The championship puts it over the edge for Jalen Hurts. Now, Just a little side note. Jalen Hurts ran for 630 yards last year. The year before, he ran for 605. So now we all know that fantasy football is right around the corner. And I just, we're going to have more shows with fantasy football. August 24th, I'll be in New Jersey with Chino. We'll be doing his championship league. Fantasy League. I'll have some content there. I might have the first round. I might record the whole first round. Just record maybe our picks. But we will see what we can do. It's going to be cool. I haven't been down there since COVID. So that was the last time I was there at that football, fantasy football draft. I got a couple other ones that I just signed up for. So we'll be hitting everybody with the fantasy football locks, the sleepers and stuff like that. When football starts, we'll be throwing out the picks, what we think. There will be a low lock for the week. So we got a lot of stuff that we're going to be brewing and that we're going to be taking care of when Los gets on here full time, weekly. Nah, you know what? That's the thing. Los can just text me, yo, D, this is blah, 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 and we go on. I was going to get George or Jay-Z here, but I know they're busy with their interviews and their podcasts. George just dropped a great interview today, Gus Fielder, Berwick native, football, NFL. He's a coaching right now at, I think he's an assistant coach or just with the Nebraska football team, the college football team. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Wrestling, Brock Lesnar came back. I wanted to talk to Los about that. What do you think about that? What do you think about Seth Rollins? Playing a whole prank on us, and his injury was fake, but was it? We don't know. I thought I did see him limp a little bit, but I'll ask Los. But Los is definitely going to be on a Friday with us, and we'll drop it in on Friday. There's really nothing else to go. I know the fights are coming up, but we will be talking about that. I know George will have a couple people on about the Canelo and Crawford fight. I'll have a couple of shows on George's podcast. I'll have a show on mine about the fight. We may be streaming it, watch along, not streaming it live, but the watch along. And that's what you're going to get with us. You're going to get boxing, sports, and all that. So I just want to make sure to everybody, thanks for, listening, subscribers. Thank you. We had a increase of subscribers the last week. We had about 22 that we jumped up. So that's good. It shows you that we're growing. The views are starting to go up, and that's all what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow. It's a hobby. We like talking sports. We like to play fantasy football. I mean, that's how it all started. We were just talking about, because George had a podcast. Jay-Z got one going. We wanted to do a little fourth and goal with the bros. And then all of a sudden, Los and I was talking, about the fantasy. And we're like, we might as well just get a show on and, talk just about life and stuff, sports. And if stuff happens in the news, we'll talk about it. If stuff happens, any sport, we'll talk about it. So, hey, thanks, guys, for listening. Again, a short show. Los will be back with a short show this week. Hopefully drop it on Saturday, and then we'll be back to drop another show on Wednesday. So next week, Los will hopefully be back. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and respect.
They say how this nigga come from dirt to bad hoes and bank rolls. Over 100 shots on the E-way, I gotta make it home. I learned from my struggle, stack that dough, forget your hustle on. Go ride for your brother.